So I have been doing a lot of moving, and I finally feel very cozy at home, situated. I wanted to respond to some of the comments that I had seen in my other video because I have been talking about being adopted and just my experiences. I guess I was just feeling very stressed out. Did make my account to talk about a lot of my own life experiences and how I can relate that to the world, because I don't like to talk about things that I don't really know about or haven't experienced myself already. I wanted to read some of the comments because, like I said, there were some comments that were left and I thought that they were interesting. Like this one, it says, I'm 26, just my sibling and no parents. And I feel like whether or not you're adopted, going through life without your parent or your sibling can be very, very difficult. And I was talking about how I feel like, to me, adoption has just been very difficult because I sometimes feel like I self-sabotage myself because I feel very lonely. My other video I was talking about feeling very lonely, even though I have a lot of people in my life around me who are amazing in my life, who I care so much. I feel like sometimes I do feel lonely because of just my experiences that I have gone through. And then sometimes how I view my own life, how I view myself, how I view others in my life, that has been very difficult. And sometimes I feel like because I have been adopted and have gone through a lot of things, I sometimes have gotten PTSD. And sometimes, to me, that is very difficult to navigate in my relationships. For me personally, I feel like this year has been extremely difficult because, I had my siblings that I feel like that was my rock for getting through just life and being adopted. Me and my sibling, we're not talking anymore, and I feel like that has just been very difficult for me. And I feel like I have just gotten super, super depressed when I shouldn't be, but just having to navigate all of that has been very difficult because, like I said, in my life I have felt like my sibling has been my rock. And just not being able to like speak to them and connect with them has been very difficult for me. And sometimes I feel like a crybaby, like in my other video I was just crying, but it was just because I was venting. I was just going through a lot, and I feel like me not speaking to my sibling has been very difficult because it's one thing to not be able to speak to your adopted family, but it's another to not be able to speak to your actual sibling, because I feel like I already miss my mom. I already miss my parent. I already miss my family in my home country. And then, sometimes I would look at my sibling and I would see my family members in my sibling's face, and sometimes it would make me so teary, you guys. So the simple fact that I don't get to talk to my sibling just has been very difficult for me this year. And sometimes I have gone days and days and days and days with just crying because I don't know. I just feel like I feel sometimes very lonely at times. Even though like I said, I have great people around me, I just feel like some things has just been very difficult, Even right now, I'm like, oh, don't cry, don't cry. But anyways, yeah, like I said, some people have amazing experiences with adoption and other people don't. And I have spoken to certain people that haven't had the best experiences with adoption, and I would rather talk about those experiences because it is very important to highlight, what people are going through in this foster care system, because I feel like there's a lot of things that are just unfair, injustices, and when people are like, oh, no child will be left behind, I feel like a lot of children are being left behind, honey. I feel like if you do have your family, if you have the opportunity to talk to your family and really connect with them, like, thank God every single day, honey. Thank God every single day. Even if you are not thanking your family members, make sure you always thank God every single day for having the opportunity to be able to have your family members, because not having your family members, I don't know, it just does something to your psyche, I feel like. Somebody else had also said that even your own family members can be evil and things like that. And I definitely agree. Like I said, in my own home country, I have experienced a lot, and I have experienced a lot of family members, my own blood family members, that are evil. So God will handle people who are evil in your life. My own blood related family be very evil towards me. And those are the things that have led me to feel very lonely in my life, because those are the things that have impacted me a lot in my adoption story, you know. And because I was adopted, I feel like other people haven't been able to help me with that, because they're not my family members. My other family members that were not evil to me, you know, are not around to help me through this also, you know. And so sometimes I have felt very, very, very lonely. And I have those are the things that I feel like I'm still working through, you know, at this very moment. And those are the things that I feel have led me to self-sabotage myself or my relationships. Because not in I it's not because I do it on purpose, you know. Sometimes, like I said, I have gotten a lot of PTSD from my own family members, you know. So that my PTSD and just my relationship with my family members, like my broken relationships, like I said, has led me to lead me to self-sabotaging tendencies, I guess, like, you know, questioning or doubting myself, or, you know, being really strict on myself, being really hard on myself, like feeling very lonely, feeling very sad, you know. I get like really sad at times, and like I said, that has been very difficult. But I feel like when it comes to all of that, God is wanting us to seek a relationship with God first of all, but also use our darkness, our hardships, and our talents, and combine that energy to make something amazing, you know. Honey, my ADHD is kicking in. The time is running out for my video, so but I do want to highlight other stories when it comes to adoption, because like I said, I know a lot of people that have had very interesting stories. So, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to that. But yes, I hope you guys have an amazing day. Okay, bye.